Did you know that 3 out of 4 Americans over the age of 60 experience joint pain daily, yet only 15% of them realize the root cause could be on their very own dinner plate? That's right. While millions of people spend a fortune on medication, physical therapy, and alternative treatments, the real culprit behind the pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back could be right there at the breakfast, lunch, or dinner table. And the most shocking thing is that we're talking about foods that most consider normal or even healthy. Foods that are a staple in virtually every American household, consumed without a second thought, but which act like fuel for inflammation in the joints. Imagine discovering that nagging knee pain that makes you think twice before climbing the stairs, or that morning stiffness that turns simply getting out of bed into a daily challenge could be fueled by dietary choices you don't even suspect are harmful. Hi, I'm Dr. Alexander King, a specialist in integrative medicine and functional nutrition, and for over 15 years I've been helping people regain their quality of life through smart dietary changes. Today I'm going to reveal something that could completely change your relationship with joint pain. The 5 most inflammatory foods for your joints that need to disappear from your table immediately. But don't worry, because in addition to showing you the villains, I'll teach you exactly what to put in their place with delicious and nutritious alternatives that will help reduce inflammation and strengthen your joints naturally. If you've tried everything and feel like nothing permanently solves your pain, this could be the turning point you've been waiting for. Stick with me until the end, because the results may surprise you in just the first few days. The first big villain: refined sugar and its disguises. Let's start with the number 1 enemy of your joints, and it's more present in your life than you think. Refined sugar isn't just that white powder you add to your coffee. It hides in cookies, processed bread, soda, fruit juice boxes, sweetened yogurts, breakfast cereals, and even in ready-made sauces like ketchup and barbecue sauce. What happens in your body when you consume refined sugar is frightening. Within minutes of ingestion, it triggers a systemic inflammatory process that directly affects the joints. Sugar forms compounds called AGEs, advanced glycation end products, which are deposited in cartilage and cause stiffness, swelling, and pain. To give you an idea of the scale of the problem, a single can of soda contains about 35 grams of sugar, the equivalent of 7 teaspoons. That amount is enough to maintain an active inflammatory process for up to 5 hours in your body. Now imagine if you consume sugar in multiple meals throughout the day. Your joints are literally swimming in constant inflammation. Recent studies show that people who consume more than 50 grams of refined sugar per day are 67% more likely to develop early-onset osteoarthritis. And worse, this sugar hijacks essential minerals like magnesium and zinc, which are crucial for cartilage regeneration. The alternative is simpler than it seems. Replace refined sugar with organic honey, natural stevia, or coconut sugar, but always in moderation. Swap soda for water with lemon and mint, processed juices for whole fruits, and cookies for nuts, or dried fruit. Have you noticed if your pain gets worse after consuming sweets or sodas? Leave your experience in the comments. It can help others make the connection. The second villain: refined vegetable oils. The second major saboteur of your joints is present in practically every American home. Refined vegetable oils such as soybean, corn, sunflower, and canola oil. These oils undergo extremely aggressive industrial processes involving high temperatures and chemical solvents that completely destroy their natural molecular structure. The result is a product rich in inflammatory omega-6 and virtually devoid of any nutritional benefit. When you consume these oils regularly, whether frying an egg, dressing a salad, or consuming processed foods that contain them, you are literally drenching your joints with pro-inflammatory substances. The omega-6 in these oils directly competes with anti-inflammatory omega-3 in your body. The ideal ratio would be 1.1 between omega-6 and omega-3. But the modern American diet presents an alarming ratio of 20.1. That is, 20 times more inflammatory substances than anti-inflammatory ones. To make matters worse, when these oils are heated for frying, they form toxic compounds called aldehydes, which directly damage the cell membranes of the joints and accelerate the process of cartilage degeneration. The solution is to revolutionize your kitchen. Replace these oils with extra virgin olive oil for dressings and low temperatures, coconut oil for medium heat cooking, and ghee, clarified butter, for high temperatures. These natural oils are not only free of inflammatory substances, but also provide nutrients that help in the regeneration of joint tissues. Also avoid fried foods in general, especially commercial ones, which are prepared with these harmful oils and reused multiple times, further concentrating the toxic substances. What type of oil do you use most in your kitchen? Have you ever tried cooking with coconut oil or ghee? Share your experience with us. The third villain: gluten and refined grains. Now let's talk about a villain that is present in 80% of American meals: gluten and refined grains. White bread, regular pasta, pizza, cookies, cakes, and a host of processed products contain this protein that can be extremely harmful to your joints. Gluten is a complex protein found in wheat, rye, barley, and contaminated oats. For many people, especially after the age of 50, the body develops a sensitivity to gluten that goes far beyond celiac disease. This sensitivity causes an inflammatory response that spreads throughout the body, with the joints being one of the main targets. When you consume gluten regularly, it can cause a phenomenon called leaky gut, where the intestinal wall becomes more porous, allowing toxins and undigested proteins to enter the bloodstream. This triggers an autoimmune reaction that causes your own defense system to attack joint tissues, causing chronic inflammation, pain, and stiffness. The refined grains further exacerbate this situation because they have been stripped of their fiber, vitamins, and minerals during industrial processing. What's left is practically sugar in disguise, which triggers insulin spikes and increases systemic inflammation. Studies show that people with rheumatoid arthritis who eliminated gluten from their diet had a 60% reduction in pain intensity in just 6 weeks. Even those without diagnosed autoimmune diseases can benefit greatly from this elimination. The alternative is to focus on natural and whole grain carbohydrates. Swap white bread for nut bread or baked sweet potato, regular pasta for brown rice pasta or zucchini noodles, and wheat flour for almond flour or coconut flour in your recipes. You can discover true culinary delights in this transition: almond flour banana pancakes, sweet potato bread with seeds, or zucchini noodles with homemade pesto sauce, options that not only don't inflame but also nourish your joints. Have you tried going a few days without consuming gluten? Have you noticed any difference in your pain or energy levels? Your experience can inspire other readers. The fourth villain: conventional dairy. The fourth major saboteur of your joints may come as a surprise: conventional dairy. Regular milk, processed cheeses, sweetened yogurts, and other derivatives of milk from conventionally raised cows can be real fuel for joint inflammation. The problem isn't necessarily the milk itself, but how it's produced and processed. Conventionally raised cows receive growth hormones, antibiotics, and feed rich in genetically modified corn and soy. All of these substances pass into the milk and reach your body, creating a pro-inflammatory environment. In addition, many people develop over the years an intolerance to lactose or a sensitivity to casein, milk protein, that goes undiagnosed. This causes chronic intestinal inflammation that is directly reflected in the joints. It's as if your body is constantly irritated and takes out that irritation on the most vulnerable joints. Pasteurization at high temperatures also destroys important enzymes naturally present in milk, such as lactase, which helps digest lactose. Without these enzymes, milk becomes more difficult to digest and more likely to cause inflammation. Many of my patients report a significant improvement in joint pain after eliminating conventional dairy for 2 to 3 weeks. It's impressive how quickly the body responds when we stop overloading it with substances it can't process properly. If you don't want to give up dairy completely, opt for organic versions from pasture-raised animals without hormones and antibiotics. Goat's milk is also an excellent alternative, as it is naturally easier to digest. Or try plant-based milks such as coconut, almond, or cashew milk, which, in addition to not inflaming, provide beneficial nutrients for the joints. To replace cheese, you can make delicious vegetable cheeses with nuts, or opt for goat and sheep cheeses, which are less inflammatory than cow's milk cheese. Have you ever suspected that milk might be related to your pain? Have you tried going a few days without dairy? Tell us about your experience. The fifth villain: processed meats. The last villain on our list is perhaps the most dangerous for your joints: processed meats. Hot dogs, sausages, ham, bologna, bacon, salami, and other similar products are real inflammatory bombs disguised as food. These products undergo industrial processes that involve chemical preservatives like nitrates and nitrites, artificial colors, flavor enhancers, and an absurd amount of sodium. In addition, many contain sugar, corn syrup, and other additives that enhance inflammation. The nitrates and nitrites, when they reach your stomach, turn into nitrosamines, highly inflammatory compounds that directly attack joint tissues. It's as if you're injecting irritating substances directly into your joints. The excess sodium present in these products is also extremely harmful. It not only raises blood pressure, but also causes fluid retention in the joints, increasing internal pressure and intensifying pain. People who consume processed meats regularly are up to 3 times more likely to develop gout, an extremely painful form of arthritis. To make matters worse, the quality of the meat used in these processes is generally inferior. Cuts with a high content of inflammatory saturated fat and remnants of animals raised with hormones and antibiotics are used, creating a toxic cocktail for your joints. The alternative is simple. Go back to natural and fresh meats, organic chicken, wild-caught fish, grass-fed beef, free-range eggs. These proteins, in addition to not inflaming, provide essential amino acids for cartilage regeneration. If you like the smoky flavor of processed meats, you can season your natural meats with spices such as smoked paprika, cumin, rosemary, and other natural seasonings that, in addition to adding flavor, have anti-inflammatory properties. How many times a week do you consume processed meats? Have you tried replacing them with fresh meat seasoned with spices? What difference have you noticed in your well-being? The healing foods, what to put in their place. Now that you know the 5 great villains of your joints, I'm going to share the foods that work as true natural remedies to combat inflammation and regenerate your joint tissues. Fish rich in omega-3 such as salmon, sardines, tuna, and mackerel are powerful natural anti-inflammatories. The omega-3 present in these fish produces substances called resolvins, which literally resolve inflammation in the joints. Dark green. Leafy vegetables such as kale, spinach, arugula, and broccoli are rich in vitamin K, essential for bone health, and in antioxidants that fight cellular inflammation. Red fruits such as blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries contain anthocyanins, natural pigments with anti-inflammatory power superior to that of many medications, but without side effects. Golden spices such as turmeric, ginger, and saffron contain curcumin and gingerol, compounds that block the enzymes responsible for inflammation in the joints. Nuts and seeds provide vegetable, omega-3, magnesium, and zinc, essential minerals for cartilage regeneration. We've reached the end of this journey of discovery, and I'm sure many of you may have been surprised by some of this information. Let's quickly recap the 5 major villains that need to disappear from your table immediately. Refined sugar hidden in various products, refined vegetable oils present in most processed foods, gluten, and refined grains that inflame your gut, and your joints, conventional dairy loaded with hormones and inflammatory substances, and processed meats full of harmful chemical preservatives. Each of these foods, consumed regularly, acts like fuel to keep your pain active and prevent your joints from regenerating naturally. But the good news is that your body has an incredible ability to heal itself when you stop overloading it with inflammatory substances. Many of my patients report significant improvements in the first week after eliminating these foods. Imagine waking up without that morning stiffness, climbing stairs without feeling knee pain, carrying groceries without shoulder discomfort, or simply moving with the lightness and freedom you deserve to have. The change may seem challenging at first, but remember that you're not just taking foods out of your diet, you're adding life to your years. You're choosing mobility over limitation, independence over dependence, well-being over constant pain. Start gradually. Eliminate one food group per week and introduce the healthy alternatives I mentioned. Your palate will adapt, and in a short time you'll discover flavors and textures you may not have even imagined existed. This information I've shared with you today may be the watershed moment you've been looking for. Don't let another day go by suffering from pain that can be avoided through smart dietary choices. If this video was helpful to you, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to receive more content about natural health and quality of life. Share this video with your family and friends who also suffer from joint pain. You may be helping someone regain their freedom of movement. Remember, your health is in your hands, and every dietary choice is an opportunity to build a future without pain and full of vitality. You deserve to live fully, and I believe that each of you has the power to transform your reality, starting with the next plate of food. Take care, eat well, and see you in the next video.